Carney campaigned on, such a strong, he was going to fight Trump and
our relationship with the Americans was over, right? Like,
yeah.
we may as well be Europeans at this point. Our relationship with Trump is non-existent, and that's that. And then he's like, thank you, good sir, for your leadership. Thank you for having me in your very opulent home. Thank you, thank you. Like, it was just ridiculous. You boomers were had.
Oh yeah, 100%. And even there was, I don't know if we can dig it up. There was a photo, or I think maybe it was even just a little clip of him and Trump in the Oval Office, or maybe it was just outside the White House. And they were, kind of standing side by side, posing for some photo ops. And Carney's just like looking up at Trump, and it reminded me of a schoolboy looking up to their father for approval on it, because he's just like, Trump is just towering over Carney, and and they're kind of standing there, and and Carney's looking up at Trump as, what's my cue here, Dad?
The thumbs up picture where, for all those boomers who, and again, don't write me letters. If you didn't vote for Carney, then this isn't about you. But those public sector retirees from the greater Toronto area who were like, I'm voting for Carney because he's the best man to fight Trump. And then there he is in an identical pose outside of the White House with Trump saying to him as the first thing, I basically got you elected, so you must do what I say. That was the unspoken thing. And then they also do like the thumbs up outside, like the very Trumpy thumbs up pose together. I think Trump spoke for 29 minutes and Carney spoke for 4. And the most he said was like, Canada's not for sale, but you're quite literally there trying to sell our goods and services to the Americans. So What are you doing? And Trump is like, yeah, those tariffs are staying. And then Carney goes on to say, we're working very hard on the negotiations. Negotiating what? Trump said those tariffs are staying no matter what. And he said, that's just the way it is. So anyway.
Yeah, and we'll get to the CBC's biased take on all of this in just a minute. But we have a clip here to share. I think, is it Steveland Ambrose?
Yeah.
He posted this one, and I liked his take on X, where he said the Liberals just ran a fear-based campaign painting Trump as an existential threat to Canada. Now they've dropped a slick tribute video basking in his aura and draped it in American pageantry. The pivot from defiant to fanboy was instant. It's another reminder for Liberals, it's never been about principles, it's only about power. And here's the clip.
I conveyed to the president today what our countries have long proven to be true, that Canada and the United States are stronger when we work together. We can get a better deal for our workers. We can create more opportunities for our businesses. We can build stronger economies across North America when we work together. The question is how we will cooperate in the future, how we can build an economic and security relationship built on mutual respect. We agreed to have further conversations in the coming weeks, and we are looking forward to meeting in person at the G7 summit in Kananaskis in Alberta.
How to say a lot without saying anything at all.
Yeah, he just said we're going to meet again in the future. Yeah, I bet you are. Like
we're talking
right across. We're right across the border. Of course you are. Like, that's the dumbest thing ever. And we're working on building a relationship. I believe Trump just told you what the relationship is. The tariffs are staying. You got elected because of me. And that's the end of it. Like, that was the entire meeting. And so, of course, the CBC says that this is a win for Carney. I guess when the bar is that low, okay, he didn't yell at you or get all like stern with you and release JD Vance, the attack goblin, on you like he did to Zelensky. And I say that in the kindest of ways. I really enjoy JD Vance. But I guess that's a win if that didn't happen. But CBC, man, you would think
the
that
spin doctors.
Yeah, let's watch.
As the CBC's Aaron Collins tells us, Mark Carney was polite but firm during talks.
Yeah, I mean, really, what a tough job Mark Carney had yesterday, right? Like, this is someone who just won a federal election, arguing that, he's the best person to stand up to Donald Trump. And of course, a big part of that is a response to his continued reference to Canada becoming the 51st state. So then just, a week or so later, he's sitting next to the president. So he has to walk this super fine line. He has to be firm with the president, specifically on any comments about Canadian sovereignty.
So weak.
But he also has to be, polite and cordial. So not an easy balancing act to say the least. So at the end of the day, this relationship, it's got to remain civil if Canada is going to be able to come out of this trade dispute with the U.S., whole, intact. And I think there's this one exchange during yesterday's meeting in the Oval Office that really perfectly illustrates this kind of fine line the Prime Minister is walking. So after Carney said Canada's not for sale, the president, he continues insisting that, Canada could be had. But just watch what the Prime Minister does here.
Now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
What?
So you can see it's quick there, but he's very quietly mouthing the words never. He's looking away from the president.
He's panicking.
But he's careful not to insult the president while doing this. So firm but polite, no easy task. It's a very Canadian strategy, Andrew.
Yeah, it was definitely.
What are these people on about?
Like, again, this is CBC showing us a video and telling us not to believe our own eyes.
Exactly.
I saw what Carney did. Trump was like, never say never. And Carney's like that wasn't like a very Canadian thing. That's someone who's like, oh, dang, the boomers are watching.
Right. I have to look tough here. Well, it makes me wonder, are we living in parallel universes? Because I watched that whole conference.
Me too.
And, did they? Because that was not the vibe at all. Carney, there was, I don't know, at least a minute, maybe a minute and a half where he was trying to get a word in, and you could see his arm. He kind of kept trying to start and he couldn't quite get in there. And it was like, come on, get a backbone. Like, what are you doing? If you're taking such a firm stance, if you've declared that our relationship with the United States as we know it is now done, and he said that repeatedly, like this wasn't just a one-off, then you would think when you're sitting beside the president and you have your opportunity to take a firm stance and, elbows up. Well, Mark Carney's elbows were like way down here and he's cowered in trying to get a word in edgewise. And it was really sad to watch. And then for the mainstream media, the spin doctors to come in and just completely flip that on its head, as though Carney was showing some sort of like, look at it. He's so uncomfortable. His body language, you can tell, and he's trying to get in there. I think it was more towards like the middle, right when they start talking about, oh, Canada, it will never, there are some he says there's some real estate that will never be for sale. But for like 3 minutes before that, he's trying to get into the conversation and he just couldn't, because he's not strong, he isn't brave, he doesn't have this like rigidity about him, he's weak, and you can clearly see that on display. He's looking
down, he's shifting, he's fidgeting, he's sucking on his teeth at some points, like he's like biting his lips, which means that he's thinking he should say something, but he just cannot. I'm sure his lips weren't chapped. And he sat there while Trump did the whole like, look at my fancy gilded eagle, and these are the new photos that I put up. Like, Trump was not taking him seriously. And then Trump tells him all the things that's wrong with Canada and why we should be the 51st state. And he didn't say a word. He basically said, like, you got fentanyl, you got a border problem, healthcare's a mess, your taxes are too high, and Chrystia Freeland is a horrible person. And he didn't say anything except, wow, Canada's not for sale. And Trump goes, never say never.
That's right.
And he says that a couple of times. Like, go ahead.
I like that he brought up how Trudeau said that tariffs would economically destroy Canada. And he was like, and I thought that was pretty interesting. So he's gleaning on his previous insights that were shared with him by former Prime Minister Trudeau. And, that for whatever it's worth, he's keeping that in mind. And that is an unfortunate thing that we had with a similarly weak and just completely incapable and a leader. And then, Trump reiterated, we don't want Canadian cars. We are building factories right now to make our own cars. We don't want Canadian aluminum. We don't want Canadian steel. And so, Carney, I think, then realized at that point, well, I don't really have any leverage here anymore, other than just saying some places are just never for sale and please buy our products again, I guess. Like, he didn't even go there, though.
And to that, Trump goes, takes time. Like, it was just like, not like zero respect for Carney, because he knows Carney got elected because of him. So of course he doesn't respect him. Carney kept saying, like, well, there's just some real estate that isn't for sale. And Trump just looks at him and goes, takes time. Takes time.
That's right.
So
kind of a sad place for us Canadians to be in, though. When you see stuff like that, it is very disheartening. As a Canadian people.
Well, and simultaneously, the UK gets a trade deal with the Americans. So Carney goes there and gets nothing except made fun of, really, saying, to his face, we're going to make you the 51st state. Plus, your country isn't great. And Trump listed all the bad things that Canada is dealing with after 10 years of Liberal government. But then he says, but I like you. And the reason you got elected is because of me, which is totally just like putting him under his thumb. And in the meantime, the UK cuts a deal with the Americans on tariffs. So reducing car tariffs from 27.5 down to 10 for 100,000 vehicles, eliminated the 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum, and made Rolls-Royce engines and plane parts tariff-free, and other agricultural provisions. Thanks, Dave, for putting this together, by the way. The UK removes tariffs on U.S. beef and agricultural products, so they're removing the reciprocal tariffs, grants UK farmers a 13-ton tariff-free export quota, maintains food standards, i.e. no hormone-treated beef, and eliminates tariffs on U.S. ethanol for beer production. So what exactly did Carney do? Anyway.
He looked good to the Liberal spin doctors at the CBC.
Let's face it, Canada's economy isn't heading in the right direction. Inflation's eating away your savings, and government debt is out of control. No politician is going to fix that overnight. With Guildhall Wealth, you can hold real physical gold and silver inside your RRSP. It's a time-tested way to protect your retirement and take back control of your wealth. Call 1-877-8-SILVER or visit guildhallwealth.com/rebel to request your free investor kit. And hey, make sure to mention Rebel News.